successful businesswoman named Sue is on her way to Cuba to open a new hotel. Her car hit a young man who was carrying a camera, which broke. So her assistant, Mi, gets out of the car to pay for the camera, but Sue hears him saying that it's not about money, but this camera is too valuable to him, and Sue likes his way of thinking. Jin is a poor man who is still looking for work in Seoul, but this didn't prevent him from coming to Cuba to enjoy his favorite hobby, photography. After giving her opening speeches, Sue goes out to enjoy a bit in Cuba before she leaves tomorrow. Of course, as she went to the tourist areas, Jin encounters her there, and he was charmed by her beauty. Suddenly, Sue's bag with her phone and all her money is stolen. Sue walks through the city, not knowing what to do, and sits on a wall, then falls asleep. Before her head fell, Jin, who had been watching her from the beginning, sits down next to her, and her head falls on his shoulder. Sue wakes up next to Jin, who tells her that she was going to fall, and she is surprised that he is the same person she saw in the car. She tells him that she is thirsty and wants something to drink, but she has no money. On their way, Sue asks Jin about his camera. He tells her that it was the first gift from his father. Then she tells him that she is hungry, so he takes her to a simple restaurant. After eating, Sue tells him that she wants to go to a party and asks if he still has money. Jin looks at the little he has, so she tells him it's no problem, but he tells her that it's the last money he has and they can enjoy it. Indeed, Jin takes Sue to the party, and they enjoy their time, after which, Sue thanks Jin and asks for his phone number in order to return the money to him. But he refuses and tells her to consider this as a gift from him. The day ends and they separate, but Jin was destined to meet her again at the airport. He asks her what she is doing here, and they discover that they are on the same plane to Seoul. Sue offers Jin to ride with her in the first class, but he refuses, but she insists on giving him her number at least. And here, Jin is surprised that she is the manager of the hotel that he was accepted in. Jin gets shocked and feels afraid that Sue will think he was kowtowing to her in order to promote him. Nevertheless, he goes home and meets his parents, who own a simple vegetable store, and tells them that he has been finally accepted in a prestigious job. Jin arrives at the hotel, and while Sue meets the new employees, they both see each other. Jin gets nervous and so does she. Sue goes up to her office and asks me for the new employee files. She begins reading Jin's file and learns everything about him, even his home address. Sue waits for Jin on a swing near his house. He sees her and goes to apologize to her, and tells her that he didn't mean to talk to her in a normal way, and that he didn't know that she is his manager. Sue also tells him that she didn't know. Before she goes, Jin tells her that he took some pictures of her in Cuba and asks her to go get it, and Sue agrees. The next day, Sue meets her parents. She loves her father very much, unlike her mother, whom she hates her. The mother was the reason for her arranged marriage to a businessman named Sok, but fortunately, they separated after a year. As a settlement for the divorce, Sue took over one of his hotels. In the evening, Sue meets Jin by Shoks while he is drunk. The drunk Jin keeps talking and laughing with her unconsciously, until she starts laughing at him and his behavior. The next day, Jin wakes up and knows that he is inevitably fired from work. When he arrives, Mi tells him that Sue wants him in her office. He goes and apologizes for his misbehavior last night. Sue laughs softly and tells him to overlook it, and she asks him out as compensation for what he did in Cuba. Jin agrees and they go have a good time. However, the next day a photo leaks online of the couple at a restaurant. Sok's mother goes to her mother's house, reminding her of the contract between them that if Sue causes any scandal, Sok will get his hotel back. Sue's mother goes to her and asks her to return to Sok again, after his mother's explicit threat to her, and tells her that they are the biggest supporter of her father in his position and could ruin his entire career. But Sue goes to meet Sok, and tells him to keep his mother away and not bother her again. Indeed, Sok asks his mother to stay away from Sue. She didn't harm him at anything and he still loves her. In the next scene, Sue goes to apologize to Jin because she didn't meet him since last time, and tells him not to worry, she won't get him involved in her problems, and they spend the rest of the day together. After what Sue did, Jin calls her the next day and invites her to breakfast. He confesses love to her, but she gets nervous, and tells him that her life is complicated and that she cannot handle a relationship in this time. But he didn't care about her words, and he took her to drink coffee and fell asleep on her shoulder, just as she slept on his in Cuba. And then Sue confesses her love to him too, but he was asleep. The next day, Sok goes to Mi to ask her about Sue's relationship with Jin, but Mi denies any relationship between them, and goes to talk to Sue and asks her to stay away from Jin because Sok is watching her. On the other hand, Jin knows that today is Sue's birthday, so he goes to buy a gift for her and they meet at night, and when Mi sees the gift, she remembers that she saw it with Jin and knows that it is from him. Before warning her again, Mi notices that Sue has become a lover of life, as she was before her marriage to Sok. Despite that, Mi goes to Jin and tells him everything about Sue and tells him to leave her because he is bringing trouble to her life. Indeed, Jin goes to Sue and he tells her he won't bother her again. But unfortunately, rumors, however, spread about her that she is dating a young employee in order to exploit him. One of the company's important employees comes out and insults her in front of everyone because she is exploiting the new employee for her personal deeds. Sue finds herself standing in the middle of the hall, and people look at her sarcastically. Suddenly, Jin's voice rises in the place, asking her out. Sue looks at him in shock, but also smiles at him and agrees. And there, Jin asks Sue how could they handle this problem. She tells him that they are now a couple and they must fight, but, at the same time she is afraid of Sok's mother. The next day, everyone's eyes turn to Jin, who begins to feel uneasy, and at the same time, Sok's mother begins plotting to destroy Sue. Despite Sue's bad condition, she meets Jin saying that she is tired of running away, and they decides to officially become a couple. Days pass, and Sue gets very close to Jin. On his birthday, she buys a new tie for him, but she notices that he doesn't wear it. Sue asks why, and he tells her that he can't tie it up, so she helps him, but she doesn't know that Sok has saw them. Of course, Sok's mother knows about it and goes to Jin. She threatens him that he is a small employee and she can harm him badly. Sue watches Jin being humiliated, but Mi pulls her out and leaves. But when Sok sees his mother, he asks her to leave, and it turns out that Sok still loves Sue and refuses the way his mother treats her. As for Jin, Mi goes out to console him and takes him to the hotel conference. There, Sue is asked about the truth about her relationship with the employee. When Jin hears that, he turns his back to leave so as not to embarrass her. But he is surprised by her saying that she really loves him and that it is a real relationship and not exploitation, making him feel happy. After her announcement, her mother scolded her, but Sue threatens her to interfere to her life again. She goes towards Jin happily and tells him that for the first time she feels free and strong. And when Sue began to think that things were getting better, she was surprised by Sok's mother's order to transfer Jin to the other hotel in Cuba. Jin was shocked because he didn't know that she has the authority to do so, but she also had a percentage of the shares of the hotel. Sue still doesn't know, and Jin decided not to tell her, but asks her not to be sad if something happened that separated them, and he took her one last time on a date. The next day, Sue summoned Jin to the office and telling him that she had learned of the decision and retracted it, because if she could not maintain the management of the hotel, then there was no point in her being here. But Jin asks her to let him go so that the war would calm down for a while. Before Jin is transferred, he travels with Sue on a trip to make beautiful memories and tells her that he thought that love was just stories in the movies, and he did not expect to live it in reality. Then he gave her his camera, which she broke before. He asks her to take some pictures of him so that she could keep them for memory. But, after traveling, things start to deteriorate, and Sue feels lonely without Jin, even though Sok tries to get her back again, but she refuses. And she feels that she is the cause of all this and she had to end it. She decided to travel to Jin and guessed that she is sitting on the seashore as it was their favorite place. Indeed, she finds him there, so she calls him, asking why he seems sad. Jin tells her, on the contrary, that he is now with his friends on a picnic, and he is very happy. So Sue asks him to look behind, and he finds her, and he can't believe this happens. But, what Sue could do was to ask him to split because she didn't want to oppress him anymore, because the situation never calmed down. And despite Jin's refusal, she is determined. Upon seeing this, her father decides to go out in a press conference and tells everyone that he will not run for prime minister because he is a bribe taker. With this, he ends the Sok family's control over him. But when Sue learns this, she is shocked that her father is bribed, but he was happy that he saved his daughter from everything she is going through. Then her mother was also taken for interrogation as well. As for Sok, he was able to buy all his mother's shares in the hotel and goes to Sue to offer it to her, but she refuses, saying that she is not interested in the full management as long as she didn't face problems in her relationship with Jin. But Jin was in a bad state after Sue broke up with him, but he was surprised that she goes to him and tells him that she is sorry that she could not handle her problems, but she will not leave him again. They returned to each other and lived happily ever after. That is our drama today. If you like it, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to support us. See you next time.